Welcome to the DGD Podcast. As always, Robert Reynolds, Keon in the building.
What's going on?
Not much, Keon. So we've got a lot to talk about, guys. 2024 is, for the most part, done. Final rankings today. I don't know if you saw this, Keon, but 2024 linebacker Chris Cole gets a fifth star based off of 24/7. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I thought it was huge for him, man, and I think it's great for our class as well.
Absolutely. So we obviously just talked about 2024. We're going to talk just briefly on that right there because there's some news that I think we might need to keep in mind as we move into the end of the signing class for 2024. That's obviously in February, but there's some news there, right? Obviously, Georgia does not land Caleb Downs. Not going to talk about that. Not going to beat the dead horse unless it just gets brought up. I'm not going to do it. Obviously, going to Ohio State. But there is a reason. I think there's a contingency plan, Keon, in the name of Terry Bussey. I think Georgia has a very good shot to flip this kid from Texas A&M.
Oh, I do too. I do think that you're going to see uh, some interesting reports moving forward. We currently have, I believe we had an in-home visit. I believe Georgia had an
This
in-home visit
this up
scheduled.
this upcoming weekend, I believe he's
Yeah.
on visit. Yeah, so big deal there. Obviously, I think that's one that you're probably going to watch for moving forward, and rightfully so. But first things first, welcome into the DGD podcast again. Listen, the show is brought to you our friends over at Apotheos. Guys, it's the best coffee in the business. I cannot get my day started without it.
Can't do it.
It's absolutely necessary. Now, do yourself a favor. Listen, NIL is a prominent feature and fixture in Georgia athletics. The cool thing about us and Apotheos is if you go to our website, dgdpodcast.com, and you go to our sponsors and you go to Apotheos and you shop there. All right, check out all the good coffees. I'm telling you, Classic City Dark Roast, Costa Rica, actually a good sweet medium blend. Guys, get whatever you want, put it in your cart, and when you're checking out, use code CCC triple C, and you will get free shipping on your order, and 20% of every single bag or K-Cup that you purchase goes to the Classic City Collective because Apotheos is the official coffee and cold brew partner of the Classic City Collective. So you're doing an NIL play while also getting you some damn good coffee. So check them out, dgdpodcast.com. Go to our sponsors tab and shop Apotheos's selection. It's very good stuff. Would not lead you wrong. Would not. Keon, I think a lot of people are here to talk about 2025, man. 2024, Georgia comes and finishes at number one, right? And might not be done for that matter.
Yeah.
But we move to 2025 until we need to come back to 2024, as you know.
Yeah.
Guys, there are some names that you need to know, and we're going to get on this early, okay? We're going to get on this early. But these are some names that I think you need to know, and we're going to break it down by position, okay? We're going quarterbacks, running backs, you name it, right? I'm excited for it because I think 2025 can be a historic class.
I do too.
We say this all the time. I think this could be a historic class if shit shapes up the way it should be. Just going to leave that there for you folks. This is why you stay tuned, right? If you're in here, man, make sure to like, follow, subscribe wherever you're watching from. Follow us on our social medias too, right? You go to dgdpodcast.com and you can find out everything you need to know. So hopefully,
100%.
yeah. Keon, let's get started. I think let's start with the biggest, right? The biggest position group and the most important, and that's the quarterbacks. Keon, did you know that there's a quarterback that reclassified for some reason? I guess he's in Georgia.
Yep, definitely. Julian Lewis, aka Juju Lewis, who I believe is currently committed to USC.
That he
Gonna,
is.
gonna be taking a visit here soon to Georgia, I believe in February. He's reclassified, and honestly, as far as I'm concerned, this is quarterback number one. I mean, you hear people throw around the name or the words generational often. With Julian Lewis, I think you truly have that with not only his skill set, but his game planning. This kid is electric.
And the thing about it is he's been trained since, I mean, he's been throwing more balls than any quarterback you could imagine, and he was since, I would say, like 7th grade, if not before. Like, he's been doing this for a very long time already. Obviously, like I said, USC. Listen, my thought is I think he goes and decommits from USC with just a reclassification, and I think Georgia's in a really good spot here for that recruitment. Just going to leave that there. Well, obviously, that's one to monitor. Listen, I think that's one of the biggest ones of all, period, in all position aside. But right, we have Juju Lewis, right? That's a known name. I think some other names that people might need to keep up with is Antoine Hill, right? Antoine Hill, Warner Robins, Georgia product, right? Out of Houston County, 6'4.5", 205. I think one team that you got to be careful with Antoine is UNC. But if for some reason, Georgia can just easily apply pressure if need be. But that's just that's one of the names to watch and monitor for too. Really good prospect as well, by the way. I think what you're going to notice is it's Juju, and then the other names, it's here and there, if you will. I think you were looking at McIntyre, but McIntyre commits to Tennessee today. So, there's one. And we're not talking 2026 or down the road. We're just focusing on 2025, okay? So outside of Antoine Hill, you've got a TJ Lateef and Ryan Montgomery. TJ Lateef is a 6'2", 185 guy out of Orange County at Lutheran High School, right? All these guys are really good as well. So don't get that twist. I think a team to watch for with TJ, though, outside of Georgia is probably Arizona at this point. Still very young into the recruitment process here. And also Ryan Montgomery, 6'3", 210 out of Findlay, Ohio. Ohio State, obviously, in-state prospect there. Could be one to watch out for. But again, with Julian Sand in the fold, Aaron Nolan in the fold in this 2024 class, I think that opens Montgomery up a little bit to view more, if you will. And I think Montgomery actually just visited Georgia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I think the main prospect to watch here is obviously Juju Lewis, rightfully so. Again, he's committed to USC right now, but listen, he reclassed for a reason, and I don't necessarily know if going to USC is a part of that plan, but it's definitely something you're going to want to sit here and watch. I'm just going to leave that there, Keon.
100%. Definitely something to look out for moving forward. Definitely something to look out for.
Without a doubt. Now we move on to the running back position. Obviously, you've got a current commit in the 25 cycle. That's Bo Walker, Cedar Grove prospect. But there's some other names that I think you could keep up with as well. Usman Cremon, I think out of IMG, I believe. That kid is a absolute animal. Sorry, excuse me, Lee County. My bad. I was thinking somebody else. Lee County prospect, right? Watch out for Florida State there. But I think this one right here would be very interesting to see. I think this kid is a absolute stud. Just going to leave that there. Jordan Davison. If you're not familiar with Jordan Davison, that is the teammate of one Nate Frazier out in California. Keon, what are you hearing more about Jordan Davison at this point?
I mean, he's a certified baller. Love the way how he plays in and out of breaks quick. I think his footwork for me is something that I paid attention to a lot, especially with him and Nate Frazier. It seems like they're really great with their footwork as well, being able to kind of get a feel for the field. He is a dude for sure. For sure.
I think the one thing you got to watch out for here is Texas one team.
Yeah.
I think Georgia's going to pressure and try to get this commitment, but I think Texas is probably the main threat here for Davis.
100%. 100%.
Still, again, you got Nate Frazier. Alvin Henderson recently off of a visit as well. Alvin Henderson's out of Elba, Alabama. 5'9", 185 is what he's listed at. Watch for Auburn on that one. Watch for Auburn on the Alvin Henderson sweepstakes there.
100%.
Smaller guy, but he's thick, man, and he can run. Okay, he can run. So I think you got that right there. Also, going back to Jordan Davison, 5'11", 210. And Chroma is 6'1", about 215. So pretty good size there. And obviously Bo Walker. I think everybody knows Bo Walker. Probably one of the better names. Keon.
Mm-hmm.
Leave that there. 5'8", 190. Cedar Grove again. Cedar Grove putting out some good prospects.
They sure are.
So looking forward to that as well. Let us know in the comments who you're most excited to see. Do you think there's any commits that you think out of the names that we've been calling for? Who do you think Georgia lands? Let us know in the comments down below, Brigade. We're going to keep this thing moving now. To the receivers we go. Now, 2024 was very, very deep at receiver, right? 2025 should be no different, right? And here's some names I think, Keon, I'm going to let you read off some of these names. Some receivers that we're looking at here.
Yeah, I'm looking at Jamie French, big one for me. Yet again, talented guy straight out the bat. We have Travis Smith, which, that might be one that dog fans really need to pay attention to. Might be trending towards us. You might want to take a look at some of those crystal balls. We also have Cameron Sparks. We have Shamarius Peterkin.
Shamarius Peterkin. Keon, I will take this one right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shamarius Peterkin. Guys, up here in my neck of the woods, Mount Tabor High School in Winston-Salem. Watch this kid play, and he is electric. Obviously, y'all know how familiar and versed I am with Grimsley. They opened up the season, or first or second game against Grimsley. Their lone touchdown was like a 69-yard bomb. Shamarius, 6'2", 185 range. Probably going to get to about 200 or 190 to 200 by the time it's all said and done. Kid is electric. And he's got like sneaky, low-key breakaway speed that I'm ecstatic to see. I would love to see Georgia come in and BMAC really be aggressive there. That's just me. Seeing that North Carolina stuff play out. But, again, North Carolina's been good to the Georgia Dog,
100%.
Yeah, and we'll pull some names back up, and I'll go from there, Keon. I'll let you take it back over.
All righty. We got Thomas Blackshire, CJ Willie, and we have Nasir, Newkirk.
Nasir Newkirk. That's another one, Keon. That's another one. Now, he is not at Mount Tabor, but he's at Dudley in Greensboro. And Greensboro, if you know, Dudley's known for track speed. Man, they are some fast individuals. And to me, Nasir Newkirk's another big body, 6'2". I want to say 6'2". Same weight as Peterkin, about 6'2", 185, I would think. Actually, if you go to on 3, Georgia's in the lead for him, if you will. 6'2", 185. Still kind of young in his recruitment, though. But watching him just single-handedly take over games at Dudley at times, right? Because Dudley's in the 3A classification, and Dudley is throwing up Madden numbers and Madden points. I'm talking beating people by average of like 40, 50 points. It was insane. Just running track, meets around people. And this year was one of those guys that was more than capable of doing that. I'm excited for both him and Shamarius. I would love to see them both. That's just me. Not going to throw my recruiting pitch out there, if you know what I mean. But I'd love to see you in red and black. That's just my take on it. And then also Jordan Allen. Jordan Allen, excuse me, goodness gracious. Jordan Allen, wow, is another name I think people need to keep an eye out for as well. I think the receiver position. Kian, I want to slow this down for a second and look into the receiver position ourselves. How many receivers do you think Georgia should take in this cycle?
I'm gonna say at least two. That's just me personally. If some of the things go the way how we hope they will, I think two will be an easy number for us to achieve. What about you? What
I think
amount you think we should go
well,
for?
I think you're gonna. I'd probably say you go three. Um, Looking at the guys that we brought in from the portal, right? I think three is a good number.
There you go. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. A lot of talented guys as far as the top wide receivers that are coming out, man. There's definitely a lot of eyes that should be paying attention to these guys because they're going to be moving around, and I think it's very important. Pay attention to some of these OVs. Take a look at the crystal balls, And I'm a big believer. You gotta read the tea leaves, man. You gotta
And
read the tea leaves.
these receivers, I will say this. Obviously, we're doing this kind of way too early, just to get these names out on out in their 4-year ears. Watch out though, because there's going to be some guys that are going to pop out of nowhere. So keep that in mind. We're just projecting what we think. Some names to know. We understand that there's going to, like I said, there's going to be people that just pop out of nowhere and just explode. Right? Just leaving that there. Now, explosion. I'm moving on to the tight ends. Georgia seems to already be set for tight ends. Surprise, surprise. One only Todd Hartley there. Already looking at 2026 now. Ain't that crazy, Keon?
I'm trying to tell you, he's getting an early jump on it.
And obviously, those tight ends are one Elias Williams, 5-star tight end, and then Ethan Barber, that's a 4-star. Guys, if you're not familiar with Elias Williams' game, guys, 6'7", 235 out of Camden County. That boy can absolutely fucking ball, Keon. That boy can ball.
And it's crazy.
Can ball.
It's crazy to see it, man, honestly.
And obviously he hoops as well. So, you sit there, you think about it, right? I'm looking at it, and it's just like just his blend of size and speed and catch radius and things like that. It's just another notch in Todd Hartley's belt if obviously all things stay the same. Looking forward to that. Now, with Ethan Barber's out of Alpharetta, 6'2.5", 225. Vastly different type of tight end. I'm looking at Elias is projecting as like a big type receiver, right? Ethan Barber, I think, can do the same thing, but I think I think both of them are going to need to make sure that their work on the inline blocking and things like that are going to matter. I just feel like you have to, like we saw this with Darnell. I'm not comparing Darnell. I'm just saying we saw this situation. You need to utilize those big bodies like that. I think that's something that we didn't do with Darnell, and I hope that that Bobo takes note of that and finds ways to get him the ball because he's actually fast for 6'7". I'm just gonna say that.
100%.
It's nice to know that the tight end spot is pretty set right now too. But we move to the offensive line, and you start off with the main guy, number 2, depending on where you look at, David Sanders Jr. up here out of Providence Day in Charlotte. Guys, kid is a freak, a absolute freak. Now, the one thing that I'm intrigued, okay? I'm intrigued to see is if he can gain some weight and hold it and maintain it. Kind of light, man, a little bit. About 275, 285, I think it was maybe. Got to put a few pounds on. But the athleticism is through the roof, all right? Watched him handle it, and that tackle is just effortlessly moving. And I think that's something that obviously Georgia's going to clamor over. You're going to be fighting Clemson off on this one now. Just that Charlotte area, Clemson is pushing hard for it. He's locked in a Clemson visit. Listen, he's been to Georgia several times too. I think this is going to be a battle, though. Okay, it's going to be a battle. But I do think in the end, if Georgia – I think Georgia's going to test him to see if he can gain some weight and keep it. But if he's able to do that, I feel like he's a dog at the end.
100%.
Just my thoughts there. But, yeah, David Sanders is a freak. And we look at Juan Gaston. Guys, Juan Gaston.
Beast.
Don't don't really know how to say it. 6'7.5", 330, out of Westlake in Atlanta. This kid is an absolute animal. I think he could go down as one of the better offensive linemen in this class, period, when all said and done.
100%.
This is a must. This is a must get for Georgia. In-state, must get. Got to get this one. Got to get it. Got to get it. Got to get it. Got to get it. Can't explain that enough. Jalen Matthews, excuse me. Jalen Matthews is another one out of New Jersey. Right, commanding lead over Penn State, 6'5.5", 273. Little light, but I think again, somewhat of the same with David Sanders. Test it, see if you can put some weight on, things like that, and then go and roll with it from there.
100%.
This next name though, Mason Short, sounds familiar, Keon?
It sure does.
Can let these folks know.
Well, he was recently committed to the University of Alabama. Recently decommitted.
Bama, baby.
But he recently decommitted. Had I believe it was an OV at Georgia.
He did. He did. Yeah. Basically, almost after he decommitted from Bama, he goes to take the OV at Georgia. Or I don't know if it was an OV or he took a visit for sure.
Yeah, he took a visit to Georgia. Had the guys Tate Ratledge and them. He was hanging out with the guys.
Yeah, I think Tate was hosting for that. Looked like he had a real good time.
Yeah.
Out of Evans, Georgia, if you're not familiar, 6'5.5", 300. Sounds like a familiar number there, if you don't mind me saying. Listen, it's not going to be this 2025 class, for what it's worth. You're not gonna go get that level of big bodies like we got in the 24 class. No need. You got 340-pound average.
Yeah, I think with this class, I think you're going to see a lot more versatility. You're going to see a lot more agile linemen. I think with this class more than anything. And I think to close it out for the offensive linemen, I think the last one was Cortez Smith. Yep, there it is.
Cortez Smith. I think that one's the name that you really need to get. And the reason why I say that is because I think he'll be a center at the next level. I think he might play guard or center. I think he might be center. I might be projected him at center. As you know, center is important, right?
100%.
Ask Bama / Ohio State. Ohio State's got some work to fix Seth, but whatever. Not on my team, so I digress. But yeah, again, looking at probably replacing Jared Wilson in the 25 class. So you got to get it done. And I think, and I do think Cortez will be one of those guys. Keon, we've hit the offense, right? We've hit the offense. Let's take a second to hit our next sponsor. Keon, you want to tell them who the next sponsor is?
Alumni Hall. Yet again, that's where you need to go to get all of your Georgia-related gear. In Athens, GA, that's where we play. You can find them. You go to 1791 and go in there and mention the DGD podcast at checkout to receive extra discounts as well.
Get that 10%. Get that 10%. But also, to add, Keon, if you go to our website, dgdpodcast.com, and you shop there, right, shop Alumni Hall, you can also see and support the show. It helps support the show. No discount, but you're supporting the show. So if you want to support, go to if you can't make it, but you want to support the show, just hit the website up. You're going to do us a favor. But yeah, thanks to Alumni Hall as well. Keon, it's time we move to the defensive side of the ball. And boy, oh boy, I am ecstatic for this side of the ball.
Let's do it.
Let's do that, shall we? Absolutely. First things first, let's hit that defensive line. One of the best prospects in the country overall. Let's start it off. Elijah Griffin, down there at Savannah. This is a must-get prospect. Not because he's like third or second, depending on where you're looking at. it's because he's fitting one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle in our class and on this team, the D-line. And he's second or third, wherever you look at it. Kid is a must-get in this class. I don't necessarily see him leaving the state of Georgia. I think this one's going to come down to, for what it's worth, South Carolina might be one to watch for here. Maybe Clemson, we'll see. But I'm at 6'4", 270, right? Like I said, Savannah, Georgia. In-state kid. On3 has him as third overall. You have to get this kid. You absolutely have to get this kid. There's no question about it. I mean, as Brennan said here, he's a monster. And there's no other way to get around it. Now, Keon, the second name on this list, Justice Terry. That's a current commit. Let these folks know what's up.
I mean, Justice Terry, yet again, certified beast. Really excited to see how he continues to develop his senior year. But, man, I'm telling you, this is definitely going to be one that we truly need to watch. He is going to be jumping off of the screen.
6'5", 275 for Justice Terry out of Manchester, Georgia. So, yeah, I'm just saying those two guys right there. If you land both of those guys, it's nasty work. It's just nasty work at that point. Let's do Isaiah Gibson. Isaiah Gibson actually just come off of a visit as well. I think this kid will commit to Georgia when all's said and done. That's just my thoughts on it. Kid's legit. I mean, listen, most all these guys on this list are going to be legit. Definitely the top two and even the third. But that's just my take. I think Isaiah Gibson, he looks a part of what Georgia looks at D-line. Do you have anything to add to it?
I'm just really excited to see how this class is going to shape out, truth be told. Go ahead and hit him with the next one.
Ooh, let's do it, shall we? All right, next one, Christian Garrett. Christian Garrett, excuse me. Christian Garrett's out of Prince Ave, 6'3", 261. Literally in Georgia's back door. I think this was one that probably Georgia could get if they need to. So I think, and it comes to that, I think that's one that obviously, like I said, it's right at the back door. Definitely think that's gettable. But again, I think a lot of it is to what Georgia wants to get out of this class. Another two more names, Kevin Wynn and Stephon Shivers. I hope I said that right. Also, this D-line class, obviously, if you get two or three of those, right? Obviously, I think you look at Elijah Griffin, keep Justice Terry, and say if you get a Isaiah Gibson, right, or a Christian Garrett, that D-line haul is ridiculous considering what you got in the 24 class.
100%.
So, I mean, I'm looking at the D-line class. Obviously, you can, you get a couple of those guys, it's going to be extremely top heavy with elite two. I mean, that's 2 5-stars if you land the top two there. But we move to the edge, and I think the edge intrigues me as well, Keon. There's just some freaks in this edge class, and I think Georgia could go crazy and get 3 in this.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what you're thinking, or what would your projection be on this class?
I would say a solid 3 as well. I think that's a good amount for us, especially how the last class was a little bit like.
Well, yeah, because you didn't really get the. I don't think you really got many edge actually at all. I think maybe Quintavious Johnson was the one that you got that you could probably play at edge. So you didn't really get a lot of edge play in 2024. So obviously that means 2025 you'd load up. And boy, there are some names here. Start off a couple here. Zion Grady, decommits from Alabama. Listen, once you decommit from Bama, baby, Georgia's going to push hard for that one anyway. Let's see, going back to Zion. So if you don't know about him, it's it's a freak, man. 6'4", 210. I think he's a little bit light there. He'll probably bump up to probably play in the 225, 230 range. I think that's what prototypically Georgia pushes for. Out of Troy, Alabama. And like I said, decommitted from Alabama. I think watch for Auburn here, right? Watch for Auburn. Uh, but Zion Grady is one that you really want to watch. Keon, what are your thoughts on Zion?
I think he's really impressive, man. I think he comes off the edge very smooth. Um, Get again physical up front. I'm going to be excited to see how his recruitment goes. Yet again, I do agree that Auburn is a team there to watch. Another guy I think is going to be very impressive coming out of this year's edge class. What was it, Jared Smith?
Jared Smith, yes. What you got on Jared Smith, sir?
I think Jared Smith is going to be insane. He's one of my favorite guys out of that edge class that I've been looking at so
Yes,
far. Big mauler of a
six
guy,
six six two thirty out of Hoover or Thompson. Excuse me,
man.
Thompson and Hoover. Listen, for what it's worth, Hoover or Thompson's always been a Bama pipeline, but Saban's not here no more. So I think there's a chance. Keon, I think there's a chance.
Yeah, and then there's your guy, Bryce Davis,
Motherfucking Bryce Davis.
big baby
Some of
Davis.
the things that I've seen this kid, it's it's freakish, man. It's freakish. uh, yeah, we'll talk. So I want to do this. I'm gonna come back to this. I want to bring this last one up because I could go on a little quick tangent. Isaiah Gibson, I put as an edge too because you could see him be a hybrid guy. For what it's worth. Um, so I think there is that right there too. Bryce Davis, though, guys, if you're not familiar, 6'4", 235 up here at Grimsley, a teammate of Jamal Jarrett. And just if you've watched some of his tape or if you just watch him in practice, his motor, for one, his motor, don't really see a lot of plays getting taken off. Um,
Yeah,
but at the same time, the get off for this kid is stupid. Uh,
it's
watch
it's almost like he has springs in his legs,
I've
man.
watched this kid hit from a C gap. No, not C gap. About probably a 5 or 6 or no 5. Yeah, hit 5. And swing it and do an A gap stunt and was in the backfield before the other guys got off the ball. And I was just like, what? It is mind boggling the speed that this kid gets off the ball with. Also, excellent, excellent pass rusher. But even more importantly, the kid can set the edge amazingly well. Long arms, guys. Keeps them and forces running backs inside, but also closing speed if they want to try to go out and bump out. So that's obviously something that's super important there with the edge position, as you can tell. Dude, listen, kid needs to come on and commit to Georgia, man. Just get that over with. Personally, I'd love to see
Yeah.
that, but that's just me. Keon, we're gonna move to linebackers. I'm gonna let you talk about this one 5-star linebacker, right? 5-star linebacker. Riley, is it Pettijohn?
Yeah,
Tell us,
Petey John.
Petey John. Okay, tell us more about this. Just
I
tell us
mean,
more about it.
this guy is a certified baller, man. Coming out of my high school, McKinney High School, out of McKinney, Texas. This dude, I'm gonna tell you this: that defense with him and Xavier Philisimi punching, punching. Uh, Very, very fast. Truthfully, he was a wide receiver turned linebacker, and I think it's one of the biggest things to note. He is explosive. He is hitting gaps and coming off that edge something crazy. That is something I think. Uh, I do think he is one as far as the linebackers go for us this year. He is definitely one for us to watch. I believe he's 6'3", 205, 210.
Yeah,
It might be a
on three
little.
has him listed about 200, but basically that 205 range. It
Yeah,
looks
so
good.
uh, definitely an explosive guy. I'm so excited to see him. I'm so excited to see him play this senior year because I know that defense is going to go crazy. McKinney High is going to be something to reckon with moving forward. That defense is crucial, and they are out there punching on something.
Yeah, I think that's that's an interesting name because that's another linebacker. When we just brought up the start of the show, right? Georgia gets it just gets three linebackers, two of them 5 stars, right? And then you look at another 5 star there that you're trying to push for as well. But some other names here, obviously Zayden Walker, guys. Zayden Walker. He's I don't even know how to explain it. Kid is a freak, man. It is a
Unreal,
it
unreal,
is
unreal.
it is nasty work, guys. Nasty work. Um, Obviously the Georgia prospect too, in-state kid. Oh boy, that is. I don't really know how to put it there, but yeah, the kid is a freak. Depend on he's an outside linebacker, but I think also you could depend on how. I think Georgia probably would put him as a backer because I don't see him being tall enough to play the edge that Georgia typically looks at prototypically. Looking at like a 6'1.5", 6'2", route 225. Again, that fits the what you're looking at a linebacker perspective there, right? Ties out. Um, Again, absolute freak, right? Schley County. So another in-state kid. If you've not noticed, 2025 is absolutely stacked in the state of
Yeah,
Georgia.
well, I mean, overall, when you look at the linebacker position, you are getting certified dogs each and every level, every last one of these guys. Then you have Jaden Pilati there as well,
Yep.
out of Buford, Georgia, teammates, former teammates with KJ Bolton as well. Man, aggression, plays with a high motor. I'm excited to see what his senior year looks like. um, Want to see more of his coverage ability, being able to kind of get sideline to sideline. Downhill, he's bullying you.
Yeah,
There's no
he's
way.
a physical freak when it comes to being aggressive and tackling. You're gonna get a very sure tackler with Prolati.
100%.
I
100%.
think the coverage is something that you'll probably see the growth there. Try to, senior year grow upon that. Again, if you're committed to Georgia and if he sticks, I think Schumann's going to be the best guy to develop you too. Um, so I think there is that as well. Let's see some other names here. Nathaniel Owusu Botang, kid out of IMG, 6'2", 210. I think you're looking at in-state schools there, Florida, Miami initially. But I do think that is a name that you probably want to keep an eye out for. Uh, Definitely want to.
There it
Yeah,
is.
absolutely. Dean Fraser done. Um, but no, I think that's another name that you probably want to watch out for to see what transpires there. So it could be something
Hmm.
brewing. And then also Christian Gas. A lot of people probably might not know that name, but the kid can ball. Okay, the kid can absolutely ball. That's another one too. I think you probably see him as a hybrid situation too, depending on how you view it. Right? You depending on how you project them. It's how you project them.
Yet again, I pulled the list back up so the people can see them. Uh, Yet again, top to bottom, no matter how you look at it, no matter how you slice it, it is nothing but certified dogs in this linebacker class. Really just had a conversation. It's crazy. I was on Twitter Spaces just yesterday having a conversation. Like, man, Georgia's gotta offer this kid. I mean, I've been seeing him play these past couple of years up close. This kid is a baller. Yet again, Riley. Shout outs to him. He actually just got his offer today, which was the craziest thing in the world because we was just having this conversation 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, like we gotta offer this kid, and hopefully we get him yet again. Uh, Dude, just a physical guy, man, and I think that's something that Glenn Schumann and Muschamp are definitely cued in on. Uh, Certified dog. It's gonna be crazy. I'm excited to see how these guys' senior years shape out. Their junior years, for the most part, each and every last one of these guys that we have here on this list, they have sat up here and made play after play, the game changers. So moving forward, really excited to see how that senior year looks.
Also, if you're listening, excuse me, if you're listening or tuning in right now, let us know what your thoughts are. If you'd like to hear about more of these Twitter X spaces, man, a lot of insight there into Georgia football. Then obviously, easy access to myself, Keon, right?
Yep,
So we did that last Wednesday. Keon, how'd that go?
went pretty well. Truly enjoyed it. Look forward to possibly doing another one. moving forward. But overall, I felt like it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I think we need to see what the brigade thinks. So let us know in the comments if you like the idea. And if you do, just go to our Twitter or just go to the website and find us on Twitter, and be on the lookout for those if that's the case. Again, a lot of insight into recruiting, the current state of the team, anything Georgia related, you can hear that on there. And it's very easy, right? Very easy. It's
Yeah.
very quick and accessible to speak to us. It's almost like it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like a call-in show, if you will. um, I guess for me, that's probably the best way to explain it. It's kind of like a call-in show, but it's very quick and accessible. You don't have to do it like you know what I mean. It's pretty simple and
No,
it's
100%.
fairly, very, very interactive. But yeah, just let us know what you think about that in the comments, and if you like it, we get enough traction, we might just run with it and see what happens. But Keon, we've got some secondary to cover. Secondary is about to be interesting, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Let's see
Let's
it.
see here. First things first, Naeem Alford. Naeem Alford, Bama prospect, right? Bama prospect, but I think it's going to be a lot of in-state situation there with him. I do think that Georgia can make a push there, and if you do with T-Rob, oh boy, oh boy, just gonna leave that there. That kid is downright dangerous, folks. Downright dangerous.
Yep, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing how his senior year goes out. Very physical, most definitely. I mean, he's definitely a person you don't want to play a game of tag with because he's going to be hitting you up. Uh, I'm excited, man.
Yep. No, I think you're right, man. I definitely think you're right there. 6'1", 180, fifth overall in the country. Auburn's actually got a slight lead if you look at projections, however you take them. Again, it's all about how you feel about it. But yeah, see next on the list, Jonte Gilbert. Now, Jonte Gilbert is out of Douglas, right in Atlanta area, 6'1", 180. Look, I think Georgia was a player there. I'm curious to see though, if you like, it's again projections got him looking at Clemson and South Carolina, but Georgia's a major factor there. I'm just curious to see if that is someone that Georgia really pursues hard with, if that makes sense. But I do think, right, I do think that he's worth the take. He's a take in this class, if that makes sense.
100%. 100%.
Let's see. Next one, Kobe Sellers. Kobe Sellers, probably somebody that Georgia might not necessarily be as in on at the moment. Do think that there's potential to see some of that come in. Uh, Again, we'll see what that looks like as well. Chris Ewald. I think Chris Ewald to me is more intriguing here. Former Michigan DB commit, recently decommits after like almost immediately after a Georgia visit, and I think that T. Rob and the staff are going to push hard for this one. That's just my thoughts, and honestly, that's what I want as well. 5'11", 6'6", excuse me, 5'11", 161, so a little bit light. Um, yeah, so let's see, other ones, Drayden Fulbright, Tay Harris, obviously Keon Tay Harris decommits
Mm-hmm.
Sunday. Ironically, Kirby goes to Cedartown.
Yeah.
Goes to Cedartown today. And then at the safety position, I think this is interesting. Keon, Anquan Figgins. Anquan Figgins, I think Georgia's going to try to make a play with Dante, Coach Williams here.
100%.
Uh,
I could see him. I could definitely see him coming in and trying to bridge the gap there.
see, again, Figgins was a definite, like, lock, almost, I would say what felt like a lock to USC. But again, Dante Williams leaves. I think that's a name to watch. Definitely that's a name to watch. Keon, overall, some of these names, what are some names that stick out to you as ones that Georgia is a must-have? What are you most excited for?
For me, I'm gonna say Jonte. There's a couple other guys that I was looking at as well. Um, but as of now, I'm looking at Jonte as the main one that I think we truly got to go in with. Fegans as well. That's another one. I think Dante is going to help us close the gap on that.
Yeah, I think for me, obviously, I've got some of the North Carolina kids, right? I'm going to go back on them. Obviously, Bryce Davis, Shamari sitting the Sierra. I'm going to keep, obviously, heavy eyes on there. Love to see him in red and black. Um, Outside of that, though, give me Elijah Griffin and Justice Terry paired up. I would absolutely love that. And Zion Grady, if you can make it happen. Give me that, bolster that defensive line and the edge up for sure. I think that's going to be key.
Now, out of the corners slash safety group, uh, out of the corner group, yeah, that definitely go with those two. I think Riley is one that you have to go with as well. Strong, fast, physical. Plus, it also helps us when it comes to truly developing that Texas pipeline. Uh, Yet again, you named the defensive lineman as well that I was looking at. Uh, Got to go with Big Bryce, Big Baby
It's
Bryce.
free.
Can't leave him. Terry as well. Yet again, you named everybody on that defensive line that I think that we should go with. But as far as like the linebackers and stuff go, um, you got to keep Jaden. Uh, I heavily pursue Riley and Zayden as well. You get those two. I think our linebacker class looks insane.
I think this is a good comment to wrap this thing up with, man. Samuel Matthew over on Twitter or X says Georgia could not leave the state meeting that they could stay in state and get a number one class. That is how deep this class is in the state of Georgia. To put it
100%.
into perspective, obviously Kirby's going to go nationwide. There's a reason why he brought in Dante. There's a reason why you went and brought in T-Rob. You brought in some heavy hitters on the recruiting trail, and all of them should pay off in 25.
100%.
Keon, it's time we wrap this thing up, man. Let these folks know what they need to do.
Couple of things, right? First, you need to follow the DGD podcast on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Follow me. I'm Keon, Keon, or you can just put in the @ name, Podcast Poppy, 2 eyes. Follow us, especially if you want to be more plugged in with the Georgia Twitter spaces that I host. Definitely follow us and stay up to date on them as well. We talk Georgia football year round, daily, weekly, truthfully, hourly. Definitely want to stay tuned in. But I do want to let everybody else know this as well to close us out, Rob. If you're not a Georgia fan, your team is trash, and you have to deal with that.
That's
Good night.
that's a fucking fact. We're wrapping it up. Have a good one. We'll catch y'all next time. And go dogs.
Go, dogs.